There have been some extremely questionable calls so far this Premier League season, and not just because the calls themselves have been bad, but they've been wildly inconsistent as well. A handball one week is not a handball the next, a studs-up tackle on the lower leg is a red card one week and not the next, or an onside goal has a check complete, and is called offside. And usually I would be saying in this moment, do not attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. But there was one specific call in the Arsenal versus Manchester City match that just felt so wrong and unattributable to incompetence. Then I went digging. You may remember a bizarre moment last weekend where Liverpool's Luis Diaz seemingly scored an onside goal, but it was checked by VAR and called offside. However, the camera angles clearly showed a good goal, and it came out after the game that VAR did check the goal, and it was onside, but there was a communication error on the field with the referee that led him to believe a check was completed and found the goal was offside.
Check complete, it's fine. Perfect.
Yeah. Off.
Thank you, mate.
Wait. The on-field decision was offside. Are you happy with this?
Yeah.
Are you happy with this?
Offside goal. Yeah. That's not what it does.
What?
On-field decision was offside. Are you happy with this image?
That's fine.
Yeah, it's onside. The image we gave you is onside.
Left back.
He's gone offside.
The VAR officials on that Liverpool match, Darren England and Dan Cook, were removed from Premier League duty because of this event with Luis Diaz's non-goal. But only a week before that match, on September 28th, Darren England, Dan Cook, and Michael Oliver officiated a Pro League match in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Out of the 3 referees that officiated that game, 2 of those refs, England and Cook, were now removed from Premier League duty because of the mistake that led Spurs to beating Liverpool. Oliver is the lone man left in this trio, and lo and behold was the main on-field ref assigned for Arsenal versus Manchester City this weekend. Now it's important to note here that the onside goal called off wasn't the only major decision of the Spurs-Liverpool match. In the 25th minute, Curtis Jones was called for a foul, and initially it was given a yellow, but the studs-up challenge went to VAR, and the decision was changed to a red card for Curtis Jones. To be fair to Jones, he went for the ball, his foot rolled over it, and his studs went into Sarr's shin. It wasn't on purpose or late or overly aggressive, but it was a red card. Now this decision in itself was not that controversial. The controversy comes when we see what happens when a different player makes almost the exact same type of tackle, more aggressive, later, and no ball to challenge. Let's roll the tape from Arsenal City when Mateo Kovacic hunts down Martin Odegaard. Yikes, that looks pretty bad, and I would argue it's way worse than the tackle we've just seen from Curtis Jones. The tackle though, only given as a yellow card, checked by VAR and everything, yellow. Then, about 5 minutes later, Kovacic again slides from behind Declan Rice and clips an ankle with the studs up. No card is given. At this point, I'm thinking, fuck me, Kovacic has 1.5 red cards, and at this point he's still on the pitch. My brain is whirling. I cannot fathom the calls that I've just seen, even just in the vacuum of the Arsenal City game itself. When you compare it to the safer, earlier, and less malicious tackle from the week prior by Curtis Jones, it just becomes mind-boggling. Now, I am not a lawyer, but I know that to ever incriminate a criminal in court, you need to establish a motive. Why did someone do this? So let's do that here. Is this incompetence or is this malice? As we've established, Michael Oliver's buddies that he's just refed in Dubai with have now been taken off the Premier League matches because of decisions made in the Spurs-Liverpool match. Now, Michael Oliver makes 2 ridiculously blatant mistakes and errors to keep City to 11 men in the Arsenal and City match. Why would they do this? What is their motive? Premier League referees make a base salary of £70,000 a year and receive a match bonus with each match they referee. If they do all 38 games in a season, they would top out around $130,000 per year. For refereeing one midweek match in Dubai, they each make £20,000. If you ref 6 games in the UAE, you've just made your entire yearly salary from the Premier League. Now, the next motive we need to establish is why would UAE influence decisions made in the Premier League? Well, if you haven't been paying attention for the last 10 years, nation states, especially from the Middle East, love buying up clubs left and right. Newcastle United are owned by Saudi Investment Fund. There is a proposed Qatari takeover of Manchester United happening right now. But likely most important to this investigation is the ownership of Manchester City, owned by Sheikh Mansour, an Emirati politician who is the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and member of the royal family of Abu Dhabi. In betting markets, Liverpool is seen as the biggest challenger to Manchester City for the Premier League trophy this season, and it would behoove the owners of Manchester City to influence decisions made against Liverpool, against their challengers. Maybe like a red card or turning an onside goal to offside. The easiest way, however, to influence the outcomes of games involving Manchester City is to give them favorable calls during big matches. Maybe like keeping Kovacic on the pitch, even though he would have easily been off if he had played for any other team. Now, I'm not saying that anyone is being paid directly to influence decisions that will impact Manchester City and their title rivals, but I need to stress here, it seems pretty fucking obvious it's a clear conflict of interest that these Premier League referees are being paid handsomely for a second job by the state that owns a Premier League club. I don't think there's an outright match fixing agreement or anything like that, but imagine a ref has to make a 50-50 call on something happening on the pitch, knowing it impacts the team owned by the people paying you massive, life-changing amounts of money. I feel like rationally, most people would subconsciously bias towards the decision that isn't going to piss off the people that are paying you. It's people being favorable to a potential future employer. And to me, that is the bribe. That is the corruption. These things don't need to be explicit. They just need to be a nod and a wink, or even less. If you perform how the UAE Football Association wants you to, then you get those gigs. And if you don't, then the gigs go away. Nothing needs to be said. The opportunities just need to be presented and taken away. Surely these referees should be on some kind of exclusive contract where they can't take jobs from other federations, especially ones where they can get paid by a state that owns a Premier League club. After this weekend, I feel like Michael Oliver needs to join his buddies Darren England and Dan Cook on the bench until there is more investigation from PGMOL on how to handle our freelancing referee problem. It has to be said, PGMOL decided long ago it would be unfair to put referees in a position where they might be accused of a vested interest. The job is already hard enough, and the accusations of bias or agenda already wild enough without putting officials in charge of games involving their favorite team. For instance, our friend Michael Oliver is not allowed to referee games involving his beloved club, Newcastle United, or their rivals Sunderland. Why on earth, in an era when two of the Premier League's preeminent clubs are owned by the Vice President of the United Arab Emirates and the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, would the PGMOL allow its leading match officials to take lucrative assignments and contracts in the UAE Pro League and the Saudi Pro League? I don't know.